Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Manners and More with MILLENA. I'm your host, MILLENA Gay, and I hope everyone had an absolutely wonderful weekend. I can tell you for sure that I did. I had the pleasure of hosting the National Council of Negro Women's Black Family Reunion. It has not been in Los Angeles area for about 13 years, I believe, but they just brought it back this past weekend, and I was a co-host along with Stevie Mack and now a dear friend, Miss Retha Gray, who is an actress on Betty White's Off Their Rockers. We had a phenomenal time. The crowd was spectacular, and we truly enjoyed ourselves this weekend. So big shouts to everyone at the NCNW, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend as well. Well, here we are today, starting off our great week, and I have two very special guests. One of them is he's a comedian, he is an actor, and he's a world traveler, and he's just an all-around great guy. I have in the studio with me today Mr. Guy Torry.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And I also have today the lovely Margot LeDrew. Now, Margot, she's a wonderful, wonderful person. She has this thing going on with rodeos, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about it. But if you recall, back in February, we talked about the Glen Turman Rodeo. It was the first annual one in which I was one of the participants, and Ade Lamar and I participated in the Panties on the Calf contest against Kiki Shepard and Don Lewis. You remember that? Well,
You said paintings? Oh, panties.
put the panties on the calf contest.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I've done that before.
And so, oh, really? Okay. Well, it was quite interesting, and we'll revisit that story with Margot and talk about the Bill Pickett Rodeo that's coming up. And this is the 29th annual. This is Manners and More with MILLENA.
I'm minding my manners. That's why I'm quiet.
We are etiquette. So you see what kind of show it's going to be?
Yeah.
A fantastic, lively one. So you stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Manners and More with MILLENA with Guy Torry and Margot LeDrew. And we're back with Manners and More with MILLENA with funny man Guy Torry, and he is just cracking us up here on break. We've been on the break. So we're going to get right into a quick conversation with Margot. And Margot, let's chat about this weekend. We had a wonderful time at the Black Family Reunion,
Yes,
didn't we?
we did. We had a great time. And I don't know if you know, MILLENA, I'm now a national board member for the National Council of Negro Women.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so
Congratulations.
we've been trying
Your
to
show, though.
recruit and get some younger women so that we can rebrand and rebuild and let people know what NCNW is all about.
That's a good thing. And you know, it's interesting because I first learned about the Black Family Reunion because I'm from Washington, D.C. And my grandmother, she's 91 years old.
Wow,
Oh, my
it's
gosh, I
amazing.
love it. Yeah,
It's amazing.
I talked to her yesterday for quite a while. She'd been calling me 2 days in a row. Why didn't you call me? And I said, well, grandmother, I was working. I was hosting the Black Family Reunion. She said, oh, oh, okay. Well, that's okay. And I said,
She
was
gave
it
you a
from
pass.
She gave me a
She gave
pass.
you a pass.
She gave me a pass, but that's because she used to take my brother and I every year
Wow.
In
in
DC.
Washington, D.C. on the National Mall.
So she knows how important that is.
Yes,
Yeah.
very, very important. And one year, the first year that I won the Miss Black World Maryland pageant and Miss Congeniality, and I had to go with my tiara and, represent. I was actually
She
on
wanted
the
you
stage.
everything.
Ooh, honey, you should have seen. That's my granddaughter. That's
Oh
my
yeah.
granddaughter.
They're proud.
Oh, so
Parents are
proud.
proud.
like
Grandparents are proud.
grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And parents too. My dad
And
is like
parents
that.
too.
Yeah.
And she was so excited, especially when they called me up on the stage to stand next to Dr. Dorothy Height. And we had a conversation, and she congratulated me, and I could feel that it was history right there, but I couldn't
Right.
really get the depth of it because
Right.
it was 1990. And so, so it just, when it was requested of me to host it this week, and it was such an honor. So I said,
Right.
this is, and I really had an enthusiasm about it, but a lot of people didn't know what I was talking about.
But it's
Because
funny
they
how
hadn't done it in so long.
it's good how God prepares you for things early in your life that you're going to use later, and you don't even know you're being prepared for it.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
Had no idea. So I'm so glad that there's a revitalization of it, a rebirth. So could you tell the audience what NCNW, what their mission is? And
Well, NCNW actually started as an organization of organizations. That's what a lot of people don't know. It's about 32 affiliates. So every national African American Women's Association is underneath the association.
Okay.
And so we are actually excited because we just had our conference in Las Vegas, and we had 28 of the affiliates, and because of the new chair, Ingrid Saunders Jones, who a lot of people may know from Coca-Cola, she headed the foundation, has now taken over the reign and is really going to work hard to rebuild and rebrand and merge and bring all of the affiliates back, because more importantly than any time, we need it now.
Yes.
And under the organization's umbrella, we can reach and touch over 6 million women, because it's everyone from every sorority, every national political women's organization. So that was why Mary McLeod Bethune started the organization.
6 million?
Yes, because when you actually touch every affiliate that's underneath us, every organization has 100,000 plus, et cetera. And so all of us together make 6 million black women.
wow. Okay. Now, how do you feel about that, guys? 6 million black women.
6 million black women is beautiful. I'm single. I mean, it ain't that much of me to go around, but I want to see 6 billion beautiful black women.
Beautiful
Yes.
black women, yeah, and to really
That's a lot of brain
make a
power.
change in
really
social, economics, and the family. And that's really what NCNW was, so that women can work together to help
Yeah.
the community in all aspects of their life.
That's a lot of brain power because, black female babies develop quicker than any human species.
Really?
Yes, they do. If you research it, and so to have 6 million smart women, and to me, that's amazing. I'd love to be at that conference. I can learn a couple of things.
You can learn a couple of things. So yeah, it was great. Bringing the Black Family Reunion back. It hadn't been done since the 90s. And so it was really more, this year was a rededication of the Council House, which was purchased in the 40s, and a mural was done. And so they unveiled and they redid the mural of all the black women that actually helped start, and along with Oprah Winfrey is there and other women. And
Why'd you stop?
Well, I'm not sure, because I think one of the ladies who organized it, who used to be over the Council House, passed.
Okay.
And you know what happens a lot of times,
Yeah.
and you have to, and so the NCNW really now is trying to bring in younger women,
Okay.
because a lot of the members are older.
Right.
And so
Smart.
in order to really keep the organization going, we really have to mentor. And when I say younger women too, I'm in my 50s, so they need us.
Really? Wow.
Really? Wow.
Yes, so I'm
you're
young
younger. Yeah.
for NCNW.
Yeah. But it's a good marriage between
It is. It
tradition
is.
and bringing on the new. So yeah, that's
So we're excited because with the new chair coming from Coca-Cola, they know how to brand.
Yes,
they
they
do.
do.
So we're getting ready to rock and roll.
Yes,
All
they
right.
do.
Well, I mean, you guys have done a great job on Saturday, and I look forward to anything that I can do to help the organization. I would absolutely love to.
So we will definitely be calling on you too,
Okay,
because we need it.
Oh, Wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to need you to call my managers.
Okay.
ECM Management. Hi, managers. ECM Management. I know you're watching.
Call each other. And
Yes,
work that
yes. They handle it all, but anything that I can do to help.
Okay. We appreciate
it's an
it.
organization that really needs as much support as possible. I mean, we need to support each other,
Mm-hmm.
and that was my message on the stage. It's like we support everybody else's business. We just need to
need to
come
support.
back to each other and support.
And connect. And it's not always about money. A lot of people don't realize when you give of your time and give of yourself, so many doors open.
Yeah.
You just
Exactly.
have
That's true.
no idea. And I wouldn't have never thought, Melina, I joined the organization because I was a big part of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, which is now the NAACP.
Right, okay.
So when I joined NCNW last year, how I got back involved with the organization was because they were trying to do an event. They had not done an event since the 90s. And the NCNW's mission is they do a lot with women's health and HIV. Okay, that's a big part. That's their health initiative. And so they wanted to do an event for women and teens because the National Women and Teens Day for HIV was March 10th. And so we were doing an event, Girls Night Out, and I got a call from Carolyn Martin, who's the president, and said,
Yes.
we want to know how we might can partner or you can come and participate. We're trying to do a Rock the Red pump or some type of an event, and ask her if she had an event planner, and they really were just still trying to plan. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to help you.
Good.
And so we met in December, and then I helped them do, and we changed it to the Red Ribbon Affair. And so it was their first event. It went really well. They were so excited because they hadn't done, and it was really to raise money for their program for HIV. And so from there, I just got hooked, and they pushed me to run for the board. I'm like, wait a minute. What does that mean? What do I have to do?
You got you now. They grabbed you and tied you up like a
What do I
rodeo.
have to do? Let me see first and make sure I can fulfill what it is you're asking.
They
But
broke
it's
you
been-
in. Like
It's been great, yeah, working with all the women. It
Oh,
really
good.
has.
Well, good, good. Oh, I absolutely look forward to, as I said, helping you in any way, and I'm sure Guy is going to be willing to
Yes.
help in any way that he can.
Yes,
as
I was just
volunteer.
thinking about that as well because being co-owner of a comedy club now. Then we see what we can try to do. And because the comedy club I'm involved in now, we're in the community, and we want to be known as a community comedy club. And our slogan is "We're so not Hollywood," because Hollywood has its clubs, and that's good. But we're right across the street, right on Pico. And we want to do more blood drives. We want to do because sickle cell is high in the black community. A lot of black people don't donate blood, and a lot of black babies and children are dying. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, at some point we can try to see how we can be of service.
Merge it, yeah.
We work together and help each other out. That's to me what it's about.
Yeah.
That's
Because
honestly.
we have a ladies' night with Kim Whitley and Kim Coles every
I've
Tuesday
been.
night.
Oh.
I went with a day when she was there.
Okay, yeah.
hosting it.
So yeah, we're growing. That's growing and getting better. So we want to be of some support. Of course.
Wonderful, wonderful. We'll tell everybody at the end about that. I'd love to come out and support.
Oh, of course, of course.
I'm an avid supporter of just support.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So Michael Collier has a show on the
Monday
same
nights,
on
yeah. I'm a
Mondays.
veteran, one of the guys that helped raise me in this game. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what we do at the Comedy Union. I mean, even though we're a comedy club and there's other comedy clubs, there's no competition. We all support. I believe in supporting each other and not going at each other and trying to undermine the other clubs and things like that. It's you can put that energy into being creative and making your club
Correct.
distinct from another one.
Exactly.
We support J. Anthony Brown and his club. We support Chris Spencer just opened up a club in Hollywood. So and we still support the comedy stores and the urban nights and things like that, Laugh Factory. So it's all love. I don't believe in that type of competition.
I don't believe in it either because there is enough light for everyone.
Yeah, it's LA. It's a big place.
Exactly.
It's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people and a lot
And
going on.
it's 7 days a week.
Exactly. There's always something going on. It can drive you crazy. You're trying to get from here to there to here to
Absolutely.
there. It's like woo.
Absolutely.
And then it starts all over again the next day.
Right, and because everybody, some people don't want to travel to Hollywood.
Exactly.
We're right in the community, and you can walk here and
And it's a
probably
nice
stumble
club,
back
too.
home.
So you stumble back.
DUIs are
Come on
expensive.
back home.
So we want to stay in the community.
Or call a cab and it'll be cheap.
Or just call a horse. And, you know,
That's right. We'll bring up.
Get you up on back home.
Come on up and get you on home.
Exactly. Well, you know what? That's a wonderful thing what you're doing in the community with that. It's a wonderful thing with the Bill Pickett Rodeo and NCNW. We're going to talk about the Bill Pickett Rodeo. But right at this second, I'm going to turn the conversation to just you and I for
Okay, you and I. Okay. Just be careful. We have to pay for that song.
Uh-oh. Right, so stop, please. Well, what I understand about you is that I know that you're a comedian, an actor, a writer, a humanitarian.
Entrepreneur now.
Entrepreneur. I mean, you have your hands in everything. So I'm going to let you just expound on each of those areas.
You have to. In this business, in Hollywood, entertainment, I always say this. I always talk to young people or anybody who wants to get into the business because I travel a lot and people are always asking questions.
Right.
And you got to be, Hollywood treats you like a piece of gum. You know, they'll chew you, and once that flavor's gone, the sugar's gone, they spit you out, and you actually end up on under somebody's shoe, or under a table. So you have to be multitask. You have to be multi-talented.
Exactly.
You know, you got to learn the writing, learn the directing, learn the acting, learn the comedy, learn everything you can that you can editing because you make yourself less expendable that way.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why, you know, you hone one, get one tight. Let that be the hub, and then let everything else come from that one. But master one and then start. You know, that's why when you see the Ice Cubes and the Queen Latifahs and the Jamie Foxxes and, you know, the Puff Daddies and all those who start with their one, they hone that, and then they start branching off into clothing lines and directing and movies and production companies. And, you know, Kevin Hart is the latest one to do it now, and Jamie. So I mean that's what you have to do. You have to learn it all, and it's a lot of sacrifice. You know, it's not all about the glitz and glamour and popping bottles and limos and red carpets and all that.
Right.
You know, do that when you retire. You know, build your foundation, build your base, and then you know, and start there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are
so that's the found. You got to have that foundation first. Up. Be known for one something and be good at it, and then start branching off in other areas.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I actually I subscribe to that philosophy and follow it myself, and so I've never really had a conversation with anyone who really subscribes to that. Most people are like, "You're doing too much," because I have a jewelry line, a production company,
right.
I have this talk show, I'm on The Young and the Restless, I have so many things going on, and a beauty pageant and all of that. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you need to take a nap." I'm like, "I will take a nap on my yacht."
It's that gum with all the flavors, zebra, they had the grape, the orange, the banana, they had all those different flavors. So you got to be a pack of beech nut.
Have to.
You got striped gum. It's like I got this flavor, that flavor, because you're not gonna get tired of just one.
Switch it up, but be good at one. That is wonderful.
Be great
advice.
at one, and don't be afraid to fail.
Excellent.
A lot of people are afraid to fail.
Yes.
They're afraid.
They can't get
you
up
can't be
and
afraid to
shake it
fail
off.
because they're afraid to fail, so they don't try. They don't try to. You know, I set myself up a lot of times to fail, so I can win.
Now wait a minute. Let's explore that a minute. You set yourself up to fail, so you walk into a situation where you know you're not going to be successful.
I like challenges. Well, I'm mainly talking about on stage, like with my stand-up.
Okay.
My stand-up, I'll say certain phrases to see if I can get myself out of a hole. Like stand-up, I mean, most of us, we're working on our craft. We're doing jokes. We're doing them over and over again, and that's just to get it right. People don't understand the comedy process. You know, the comedy clubs are like the gym where we work our jokes out, where we get it, you know, right till we want it, and then, you know, we take it on the road, or we take it to HBO or NBC or to the theaters or whatever. But you can get bored with that process. So to make it fresh for the audience, you got to make it fresh for you. So sometimes I'll just create challenges where, you know, every comedian has their closers where they want to end on a big crescendo, the closing bit. Well, sometimes I'll put that first and see if I can work my way, if I can follow, you know, my closer. If the rest of my jokes can stand up to my closer. Well, sometimes I'll go to a city and I'll just dog the city. I'll just dog it, the sports teams or the city, and, you know, that's not popular. So I'll see, okay, let them hate me, and then see if I can turn it back around within an hour that I have to do it. It's just little mind games that, I know, a lot of comedians, I'm not the only one that do that, but so there's a lot of mind games we play that's going on that the audience has no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
And the good can hide it and conceal it, and you don't see it happening.
Wow. I never knew all of that
trust me.
went on.
There's a lot. That's why that's why we're so fickle. That's why we're so crazy. That's why we're dark. That's why we're up, we're down, we're all over the place, because there's a lot going on in this little peanut head that we have. It's literally a peanut gallery going on. All of
Really?
us. Every last one of us.
Wow.
Something's wrong with all of us.
Well, that's from
It's
what
not a
I
bad
understand. I was about to say, from what I understand, what I can see, that doesn't seem to be so bad. I understand that most creative people have a little different side to them because they have to balance out the creative.
You just gotta sometimes reel it in.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta know when to when to let it go and when to like okay.
You do. You definitely do. You definitely
That's
do.
that's what make you great.
Exactly.
Because no one pays for regular.
No one is paying good money
no
for
one pays
regular.
for
You want to
regular.
be funny. You want to see some funny. You want to see
Right.
some drama. You want to see.
Well, that's what comedy is. It's truth and pain.
I was reading something about comedy. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. About really, that's what you just said.
Yeah,
It's truth,
it's truth
in
and
pain.
And there's different type of comedians like Pryor, of course, and Lenny Bruce and Bill Cosby. His point of view was talking about his family life and that. And Pryor was just his dark side. Which was the pimping, the drugs, and everything. I mean, Moms Mabley was just real with her. LaWanda Page was just sassy and nasty, which was great. So and then you have comedians do impressions. You have comedians who talk about politics and worldly events and things like that. But then you have comedians who just really bare their soul and they come out and it's like, here, I'm naked. Here I am, and they make light of it because no situation is really that unique. Someone has gone through a similar situation or know someone's gone through your story. We all have a story, but
Right.
it's the wheel has been done. You can't reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Put some new rims on it.
Put some new rims on it.
But
I
you
love
ain't
it.
gonna reinvent the wheel.
Put some new rims on it. I love it. Well, God, now I know you were born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, it did not. Born actually, I claim St. Louis as my home. I'm a military brat. So I was actually born in Monterey, California, Seaside, Fort Ord, California.
Okay.
And we moved to New York for a minute, Queens, Jamaica, Queens, New York. And then I claimed St. Louis because we ended up going to St. Louis. My parents had lived there once before I was born, when my dad was stationed there. So we went to St. Louis. So I spent the longest period of my life in basically St. Louis and L.A. So I claim St. Louis because I feel like those were the most important years of my life.
And they are. They are.
That's where I did most of my schooling. So I really kind of maybe developed the comedy muscle, so to speak. Even though I didn't start comedy in St. Louis, but that's where my personality started to really hone itself.
Well, okay. Well, you went to Southeast Missouri State University.
Right. Yeah.
And
went to, didn't finish, but I did go.
Started. Okay.
I did go.
Okay. Well, so that actually segues into my next question.
Yeah.
You went there. What did you go there to study comedy? Like, what did you want to be when you grew up?
No, well, first of all, I thought I was going to be in NFL. I was a hell of a football player in high school. I was pretty good.
Okay.
And I ran track.
Okay.
But the rest of me didn't grow. I stopped growing. I stopped growing at 9.
That's a problem.
I'm 44. I'm the same size. But no. So I ended up going to marketing because I love marketing. Took a marketing class and got interested in how marketing worked. And then so I actually moved to L.A. To finish my marketing degree. My brother, older brother, I have a brother who's older than Joe, Lieutenant Colonel Ramon Torry in the U.S. Army. He was out here first to pursue, his career in writing, and then my brother Joe, who's a comedian, moved out here to pursue his, career in comedy and acting. And it wasn't until after, I saw my brother being successful with it, and I said, well, you know what, I'm gonna go out there and finish my, degree. Plus, I'm a big Laker fan, so I want to be close to the Lakers anyway. But I moved out here and really didn't think about doing stand-up. But the funny thing about it was, I was saying earlier about how God prepares you for stuff later on in life. I ran track in high school, which is to me like comedy because it's individual sport where you're on the track by yourself, and how you train is how you perform and meet. Same thing with stand-up. How you work through your acting clubs, how you're going to do on the bigger stages. I was a class clown, campus clown. I always was cracking on people. When I worked jobs, I was always holding comedy shows. I didn't know they were comedy shows. I was just in the break room cracking jokes. And people would want to take their breaks when I took my breaks.
Wow.
And even on campus, in the student center, I'd just be, telling jokes. I didn't know doing comedy was even a job. And because I got kicked out of class for it so much, I didn't know. And then when I moved to L.A., it was Def Comedy Jam that really said, wow, okay. I mean, I knew who Eddie Murphy was, knew who Richard Pryor was, and Cosby, and all those guys, but it was Def Comedy Jam that really was the light bulb that went on. See my brother and Martin Lawrence and guys that I could identify with, that I knew doing this thing that I've been doing already. So Bob Sumner, who booked basically every comedian on Def Comedy Jam and history of Def Comedy Jam, gave me a shot. After doing comedy 2.5 years, and it was really early.
Oh wow!
So things happened pretty quick because I had the pressure of being Joe Torry's little brother.
I was just going to ask you about that.
And when I started, I dropped my name. I didn't tell people Joe and I were brothers. Mm-hmm. And I dropped my last name. I went by Guy T. I went by the world famous Guy T.
Ah, okay.
But because we came out the same womb and sack, we look alike, we sound alike. So people put two and two together, but some people thought, Joe was on crack because my brother was always swollen and, muscle, and then me, it's scrawny. It was like, man, Joe's smoking. But it was actually me. So we had different dinner work. My dinner work was terrible. But anyway, so the pressure of that was just, I know I had to there were expectations I had to overcome.
Okay.
Rather than, the regular comedian who didn't have any, predecessors in their family do it. They didn't have that pressure.
Right.
I had no room to fail.
Yes.
So that made me better. But again, God prepares you for stuff early in life for later. Because I'm the youngest. Well, I'm number 5 of 6. So all my older brothers and sisters, I did everything they did.
Oh.
My sister ran track, was very good at it. Ran a college scholarship. I ran track, went to state, the whole 9. Joe wrestled and was in the band and played football. I wrestled, was in the band and played football, and broke all those records. My oldest brother was an artist, and he also wrote a lot. I did those things too. So everything they did, I was like, I'm either gonna do just as well or better. So I was already conditioned for that mindset to okay, learn from their mistakes. And then springboard off of that.
And spring for excellence.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to go through the figure it out on your own?
No, I did because my brother still did that. He still helped me out a lot.
Okay.
But it was a point to where he was like, as long as you working on your craft, you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to pay bills, as long as you in the clubs working on your craft. So that made it easier for me. That was so much easier for me.
That'd be easy for anybody. If all you have to do is do your job and do your thing, then that's it.
They helped out a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of do our job, I have to take a quick commercial break.
Let's do it.
And we have to say thank you to our sponsors and all of that good stuff. So we'll be right back with Manners and More with MILLENA, with Guy Torry and Margot LeDrew. Welcome back to Manners and More with MILLENA. I'm here in the studio, special guest Guy Torry and Margot LeDrew. And Margot, she talks about rodeo, and we're going to talk about that in a few seconds. But we left off speaking with you about the role model of your brother and your older brother Ramon and Joe Torry, that everyone knows is a world famous comedian and great actor and just an all around good person. So what's going on with Joe? Not that this is about him, but
no, it's always good. It's always good. Joe's good. Joe's family man, still touring.
Good.
Currently on a show on Cinemax.
Wonderful.
If you're old enough to see it.
Right, I saw it.
Well, I didn't see it. What's going on with the show? Is it appropriate for Manners and More with etiquette?
Well, not appropriate for young people under maybe 21. But Joe always took pride in his health and his body, and he's showing it off a little bit. And he did it in Poetic Justice, he did it in Sprong, and now he's doing it at about 2 in the morning on Cinemax or Skinemax.
It's Skinemax.
Yeah. So
it's so funny you said that because a friend of mine know him, and she said, "Girl, I turned on the TV."
Yeah, I found out the hard way. I found out in a hotel room. I'm ready to go to sleep, just flicking through the channels, and I was like, "What?"
Well, wait. What is this show?
Jump Off.
Zane's Jump Off. Zane Chronicles Jump Off. You know,
it's the men's now.
Yeah.
all the men are
Yeah.
like retired football players or whatever. They
Yeah.
got their thing. And I think Joe is a congressman or something.
Joe's running for office.
He's in politics.
He's in politics.
What? Now, I read the book, the woman's book.
Yeah,
So they
it's,
did a
it's,
jump
it's successful.
off.
It's good.
I don't think it was a book for the men. They just decided to do a jump off.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And when I saw him, he was, doing his shrewd, illegal
Yeah.
stuff as a politician. And then my girlfriend saw him and said, "Girl, you should see it. Joe was
Wow.
on there."
It definitely ain't God, Torry.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I
so
ain't built like that. I'm the lean one.
okay. Well, it seems
Well,
like
some kind of name.
Well, you're looking great. You are who God made you to be,
Exactly.
and that's.
And sometimes me and God have to talk.
Oh, you know what? You know what? I understand. 'Cause
I am touched and not by an angel.
yes, you are. You're touched by God's love. But I get that sometimes we have to talk because me and God have talks about this hair right here.
Oh, well,
Because
no.
this backside is sometimes can be quite a challenge.
I wish my hair was the least. It's my mouth. I have no filter, and I'm a Capricorn, so I just I just say what's on my
whatever.
mind.
You just say what you wanna
I shoot
say.
first and ask questions later.
Okay.
I really don't care who I offend. You just have to deal with it.
Wait a minute. Are you 65 yet?
No.
I heard that's what people 60 do.
No, I
That
have
they
an
just
old
say
soul.
whatever they want.
I always said I had an old soul.
And then they
okay.
always use the excuse, "Well, I'm old enough. I can say whatever I
And you know what?
want."
Though? I
Exactly.
say that on stage. I said, you know what? I'm old enough to. I'm way past giving a damn. Like give it a damn is here. I'm way over the line. So
You're way over the line. Well, I understand you're doing some charitable work here in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. So can you tell us a little bit about what
Yeah.
kind of charities you're involved in?
I got into charitable stuff with my brother's foundation in St. Louis, and then out here, I have a lot of friends who are athletes and celebrities, so I support their charities. But also out here, with an organization called My Friend's House Foundation, and every Wednesday we go feed the homeless downtown on Skid Row. When I'm in town, a lot of times I'm traveling, and I can't do it. But it's a group of actors and producers and comedians and dancers and
But you
singers.
participated in that one time
Yeah.
over a few months back. And
Yeah.
it was Tiny Lister and Albie Shore
Yeah.
and myself were there.
So unibrow in one eye. Here you go. Man, that's
not
a heck of a combination right there.
In between the two of them.
Exactly. So, but with Tiffany Rose is, she's the basically the founder, and she heads it up, and we go get food from restaurants the night before or stores, or we just buy stuff out of our pockets. We go downtown on Skid Row across from the Mission, and we set up a table and we line them up, and we give out prayer, we give out food, we give out water, give out clothes. So it's fun, and it's fun because it does kind of make you feel good.
Yeah.
But you really shouldn't feel good because it's a responsibility. It's something you're supposed to do anyway.
Exactly.
It's like people say, "Well, how you feel good? You feel great?" Well, no, because it's really par for the course. That's what we, as humans, no matter what your ethnicity or your social class, that's what we're supposed to do anyway.
Exactly.
So
Give
it's
back and
just-
help each other.
Exactly.
And you know what? It's interesting because one time I was there working with Mothers in Action and the
Mm-hmm.
LA Sentinel, and they did their annual homeless feed, and it was last year. And I just had a plate of food, and I was passing it out as you do.
Right.
And I just like to smile all the time.
Right. And
people
I
sometimes
used to
think
do
I'm
it-
crazy.
Yes.
And so I was passing out, and I gave the gentleman his plate, and he said, "Thank you." And I was like, "Okay." But he said, "Thank you for smiling."
Right.
And I was like, "Wow."
Smiling while you do it, not just here. Because I used to do it.
Difference.
Miguel Nunez, very, very talented actor,
Uh-huh.
he was homeless when he first got to LA.
Really?
And worked his way up, but he slept in the LA Mission downtown. So he used to do, every Christmas, he would invite, castmates and stuff to go down and feed the homeless with him. And I would do it. It was on Thanksgiving. It was like once a year. That wasn't enough for me. So I found out that they were, doing this every Wednesday, and I moved downtown LA. It became, like, okay, yeah, this is, this is supposed to happen.
But you do, and you get a lot back from it too when you give. And I think now
It humbles you, and it also just makes you appreciate what you have.
Exactly. It
Because there's
really-
a lot of those people. I hate when people call them bums. It's so disrespectful. When people were just, they're homeless at the time. A lot of them had just broken dreams.
Oh yeah, and a lot
there
of
are
people,
some talented people down there,
a
and
lot
really nice
of people
Yeah.
had broken dreams.
Yeah.
Things happen in
Things
their
happen
life,
in
a
their lives.
relationship. I remember meeting a man on the plane who was just going to see his family after so many years, and he just went through a lot, and
Yeah.
his wife, and he just gave up. He was very smart,
Yeah.
PhD, and they finally found him, and he said he was going to visit. He was very nervous.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting how you meet so many people in different
Who have
places that you don't
stories.
realize.
And they're people.
And actually,
Yeah.
things like that too give you material to talk about. Too,
Yeah, you know,
because
it's
some of them are enlightening.
Some of them are
and
very, some of
funny.
them, some of them are very funny.
You meet people
Are they?
in the
I'm
most
sure they are.
interesting places.
Never ask a homeless person for directions and ask them, can you walk there? Because they're walking. They walk on. I made a mistake
They
when I first
walk
got to LA.
everywhere.
I asked a homeless guy for directions somewhere, and I said, "Is it walking distance?" Yes, walking distance. Like 9 miles later, I'm like, everything's
You're
walking
still
distance for you.
walking.
That's how you do. I could have drove.
Right.
So that's. So I never make that mistake again. I asked somebody who's displaced, or unfortunate at the time, for directions. But it's it's a humbling experience.
And there's a lot of people a paycheck away from that.
And some of them, I always see the guy from The Soloist, the Jamie Foxx play. He's always down there. He's always, I always see him walking. He never gets in our line, but he walks down. And some of them want to be down there. Some of them don't want shelter. They get checks from the government,
Right.
and they're like, they don't want to deal with DirecTV
They
and
don't want to be in the whole social
they
and
like
bills
media
and all that,
and
and the Verizon and them. They like, I'm cool, just like this. Get my check.
And keep it
I'm
pushing.
straight.
keep it pushing.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this: how and when did you decide that you had this, or when did you realize? I guess we already touched on that a little bit in college, but is that when you really decided that you were going to make that?
No.
Like how many years ago? Like.
It wasn't until I moved out to LA in 1992.
Okay.
And it wasn't until like seeing Def Comedy Jam and seeing the success of that, and just saying, you know what, getting drunk enough one night to go on stage and try it. I've been doing it my whole life anyway, so like why not just why not just try it? And then when I did it, I failed the first time. I bombed. I died the death of 1,000 dogs.
Oh, wow.
But I was not gonna let that defeat me. And I went up the next night at the world famous Comedy Act Theater, right in Leimert Park. And I went up and did better, and then it just kept getting on that horse and going better and getting better and getting better. And and I love stand up. And then Def Comedy Jam was my first big break. I mean, that's the girl that brought me to the dance, and that's what introduced me to Hollywood.
And it made a lot of stars.
And people don't realize that. Bob Sumner, Russell Simmons, Stan Lathan, Brillstein Gray, Sandy Warnick, and those guys, they really are responsible for a lot of the black stars you see today, the stand-ups that have crossed over into not only acting but business owners and philanthropists
Most
as well.
of them start.
Yeah, they have. Now, most people, when they think of comedy, they think of silliness or
Right.
just a time to sit back and laugh until they cry, not realizing that actually comedy came from the ancient civilization,
Oh, yeah.
back to ancient Western civilization, ancient Greece in particular,
Right.
as far back as 425 BC. And the comic playwright Aristophanes wrote 40 comedies.
Yeah.
So 11 of which are still being performed. And then around 335 BC, the philosopher Aristotle wrote that the origins of comedy are obscure because it was not treated seriously from its inception.
And still to
But
this
he
day.
later defined comedy as one of the original 4 genres of literature. This is
That's right.
something I didn't realize. And he defined literature, and we as actors know this, as an imitation of life.
Yep.
So I would agree with Aristotle that as comedians are most often very serious people, and we talked about this
Yeah.
earlier, with profound messages of societal importance.
Right.
And ensconced in the subtext of their monologues.
Right.
So, would you agree or distree
I
with
totally
Aristotle?
agree. I totally agree, because one of the things too is like I said earlier, comedy is truth and pain.
Yes.
It's tragedy and drama, and I mean tragedy and
In comedy.
and comedy.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, like we like a lot of us are very have a dark side, and it's controlling that dark side and making light of that dark side. But writing is definitely involved, and the thing about messages, I mean, I feel we have responsibility with that power. It's a lot of power when you grab that microphone,
Yes.
or you're in front of that camera, or in the microphone on stage, or in radio or internet, whatever you want to call it. That's a lot of power, and you have a responsibility with that power.
Yes.
And some of us are good with it, some of us are not. Some of us are both. Sometimes we're good, sometimes we're not. But I believe with my mother being a teacher, a retired educator, and my dad being a drill sergeant, who was a leader, I have a responsibility to drop any knowledge I can without preaching. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I disguise a lot of my messages in jokes to where, it's a comedy show. People come to laugh. They don't come to be,
Preach to.
So
Exactly.
I try to kind of disguise it, in
the
ways.
messages it's one of those things where I absolutely love your comedy. There are a few comedians who really do that exact thing. It's about sitting back and laughing and having a good time.
Right.
But I am an intellectual, I feel, and I like to learn things, and I feel that most people inherently they want to learn, but they don't. Sometimes it's not cool to say I want to know more about this or want to. So by imparting that knowledge through comedy, you're really expanding and helping people to improve their lives with laughter. Because how many times have we heard jokes and we're like, oh, I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to repeat that. And it's really
learn
done
from
something.
it too. Like,
exactly.
Two of my favorites at that, a couple of my favorites is that Dick Gregory, who's from St. Louis.
Exactly.
Who's great at that. George Carlin. And, of course, Chris Rock and those guys dropping messages throughout, the stand-up but it's still funny.
But also, more importantly, a lot of people don't realize people that laugh more live healthier, happier lives.
That's true.
They're very much healthier people because, and you see people walking around mad all the time because I have a health outreach program and just kind of looking and knowing and seeing, and they show statistics that laughter is one of the things that help people with their health because they're not internalizing so much stuff. Laughter and crying because you release. See, some people, a lot of people get sick for internalizing a lot of things, and
so
that
can be toxic.
Right, it's very toxic. They don't release things. They don't cry. They don't try not to show emotion. They're mad all the time. And people that don't laugh a lot of them suffer from high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Wow, it's interesting because we just said that at the same time.
Yeah.
It is
interesting. My aunt is visiting in town, and she owns Crystal Coral Seas Creations, which is the creator of my jewelry line, MGSC, Melina Gay Signature Collection, available at L&L's Boutique, and online at melinagaysignaturecollection.com. And so she is here visiting from Maryland, and she has said, we have got to go to a comedy show. I want to laugh, because every time she's visited, we have so much going on that we never make it to one, and we always say, and I said, okay, Auntie, this trip we are going, and Michael's show was
tonight.
We are going to Michael's show tonight because Auntie has to get there and
she's
laugh.
here Friday. I have tickets for you Friday. Right across the street, the Comedy Union.
Oh, thank you. I should be in San Diego at a charity event.
Okay, well, I'll give you tickets for any Friday.
Well, thank you very much because she comes back quite often.
Okay. No, because and that's the latest thing. It's like I'm a fan of comedy, and one of the reasons why I wanted to be involved in a comedy club, had success with this comedy night I did at the comedy show called Fat Tuesdays, which was the first of its kind. There was no really white clubs doing an urban night across America, and my night was so successful. Other clubs in LA, white clubs, started adopting their nights of Chocolate Sundays and Mo Better Mondays, and then they started doing stuff across the country. So I was, nice to be, a part of that. But the comedy club, the Comedy Union, has been here for 13 years. It's a black-owned club, and it was going to close its doors just due to, one guy was trying to do everything. And Kim Coles and I came in and basically said, you know what, this club needs to stay open. It's in the community, and a black comedy club is very needed. J. Anthony Brown has his club, but it's not enough. There's a lot of black comedians that need a place to go that can't get on the stages in Hollywood.
Exactly.
So I came over because I didn't come up through the Comedy Union, but I came up through clubs like the Comedy Union, like the Comedy Act Theater and Mavericks Flat, where Michael Collier night is on Monday nights. So I knew how important those clubs were to me. So I know how important this club would be to young black comedians coming up, and also veterans. We just had Damon Wayans there who wanted to work out. Sherry Shepard, when she's in town, always calls up, I want to come and work on my act. So we get a lot of David Allen Greer. So we get a lot of comedians, vets and new ones who come and want to laugh.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can imagine. It's it's an absolutely wonderful venue, and like you said, it's outstanding what it is. Well, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with more Manners and More with Melina with Guy Torry and Margot LeDrew.
So many ways I can please. Hey,
What? Back with Manners and More with Melina. I'm in the studio with special guests Guy Torry and Margot LeDrew. And we're sitting here chatting with Guy about all things comedy. So now I'd like to ask you about, we're going to go back to the ancient comedians for a moment. Now, ancient comedians used comedy as a medium for rousing the consciousness of the populace and the socioeconomic injustices in their society. Now, with Saturday's not guilty verdict in the Trayvon Martin murder case in Florida. Do you see today's? You see, I have a certain opinion about that.
Right. I think we all do.
Yes, we do. However, this is the etiquette show, so we're going to move on from personal opinions. And now, do you see today's comedians using their craft to communicate to the populace?
Some.
And what they see as inequality, injustice, racism, or sexism in American society? Do you think that this verdict will have an impact on that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it depends on the comedian. I mean, if you're that type of comedian, then absolutely, I think you should. Because whenever anything happens in the news, the world, and you look to a comedian, they always say, well, what do you think about it?
Right.
You know, and they're looking for us to talk about it, but we have to be crafty enough to talk about it in a way to make it funny and also not disrespect it. So those are challenges in itself. Now, if you're a comedian, that's not your lane, then don't go in that lane. Stay away from that lane. There's ways to do it if you don't have something that's really funny to say about it. There's a way to tee it up where it's addressed and the audience is satisfied, and then you take them in a different direction. And I had to learn that a couple of times in my career. I remember when Tupac got shot, and I was doing my comedy night. He used to always come to my comedy night, and when he got shot, I had to address it that Tuesday. You know, and like, how can I address it and not bring the audience down?
Right.
So I addressed it, and I made up a joke about they shot the wrong guy, because the guy who was saying the national anthem during that boxing match was terrible, and he was black, and I was saying they was trying to shoot him, and I went into this guy's terrible rendition of the national anthem, so I touched on it and then diverted the attention. I did the same thing when he died the very next week. When Pac died, I had to address it, but then at the same time I talked about how, black people sometimes we don't have funeral etiquette, especially in Hollywood. It's more like a show and an after party than it is a going home service. So I addressed it, but with Trayvon Martin, I touched it a couple of times on stage before the verdict. I was getting on a plane in Japan, coming back to the States when I heard the verdict. CNN was on my phone. It was like, oh man! Then I turned the phone off, and now I had to. So now I have to address it, and I have to do it in a way to where I'm not insensitive to the family. I'm not insensitive to our ethnicity.
Right.
But at the same time, I have to make it funny. I have to make it informational, and I have to be responsible with it. So I haven't had a chance to work on what I'm gonna do yet, but it'll come. It'll come.
Okay.
But I think we do have. If you're that type of comedian with that power, we have to address it.
You have to. Now, let me ask you, what is your favorite type of comedy? Is it satirical? Is it...
See, that's the thing. My
dark,
comedy...
screwball?
It's all of it. I'm like a pot of gumbo, literally. It's like, if you look at my show, I have a blue material, political, satire, pet peeves, popular items, pop culture, all of that, all in one big pot of stew that makes a nice big meal. And I always say my show is I'm tripolar, and it's very eclectic.
Tripolar.
Yeah, and I weave it all in and make it nice. And I learned that because I've studied George Carlin one day, who's known as a political comedian.
Okay.
But when you study him, he has a lot of little pet peeve things in there that he talks about, and the way he weaves it and interacts it and makes it, and puts it together and put a bow on top of it is very interesting and a challenge. So, like some people, I have several different jokes, and some people say, well, you only talked about 4 topics. I'm like, no, I really talked about maybe 30. It's just the way I segued and made it seem like they all flow, because the comedy show should flow.
Yeah, it has to flow.
Yeah.
Just like a live show like right now has to flow.
Storytelling.
It has got to flow. So like right now I have to flow to and talk about, we have one of our sponsors here is, she's just a wonderful person. She has some tasty treats, and they're alcohol infused.
Okay.
And they are, it's called Sugar and Spiked. And it is absolutely magnificent. You'll get a goodie bag, and but I suggest laying in your bed reading a book while you eat these little. They're all sorts of wonderful
I may be
treats.
writing a book. I may not be reading.
And then we have pineapple water sometimes, or lime and watermelon water, and I mean it's just amazing what she does. So she's brought some of her wonderful treats here for us today, and we also have in the studio with us Donna Angers. Now, she is a wonderful person in that, just a beautiful person in and of herself, but you see these beautiful paintings all around?
I was looking at those. I helped her carry them in. And
they are beautiful.
And
now,
lifelike.
she realized her passion of painting when she was 19, but she had to let it go. And so she started back at 62.
Wow.
And now she's in her 70s, and this is the magic that she creates.
Beautiful.
Look at these beautiful, beautiful paintings. I mean, they're absolutely And this is someone who, I mean, it just pains me
Very nice.
that there are decades that went by that this was held in her, but now we get to see it all now.
Oh, she's expressing it.
And she's getting it all now, right now.
It's a tsunami of art coming out right now. She's just exploded on
Yep,
us.
exploded.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
all of her art is available for sale. And she is also available to do specific things. Like what she does is she'll sit and talk to you, and then get an idea of your aura and your spirit, and then she creates.
That's a true artist.
It is a true honest. Hey Donna. How are you today? Thank you for joining us. You are always such a joy, and your artwork is just so inspirational. I absolutely just love it.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, please tell
So
everyone.
young. Are you kidding me?
No, right? That's what I'm saying. 70s,
believe that
really?
age.
And she's so sweet and precious. Donna, you want to tell us how people can get in touch with you and maybe get some of your art pieces?
Of course. They can reach me at my website, which is dmangers, ANGERS, at msn.com. Or they can call me at 310-686-5018. Or they can look at my website, which would make me very happy. It's artbydonnaangers.com.
Okay.
And I will give you the prices of the painting, and I'd love to do a portrait of you or your family if you like. Thank you.
Just one quick question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said you took a break from 19 to 62, right?
Yes.
Did your artistic change? Like, did your art change? Like your style? I mean, because that's like a big gap. Or did you pick up where you left off?
What a fascinating question. I never used oil until I was 62. Okay. And I stopped drawing altogether at 19, but I had the gift because I was an A student in high school. But life interfered. I took a drink, and then the drink took me.
Okay.
And so I couldn't control that until I was 31. And then I went to college, and I just stayed in school until one day my professor said, "Why don't you matriculate?" And I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "Why don't you graduate from school?" So I took some courses to graduate. And at that time, I was in art. And since then, I went to Otis School of Art and Design, and I've been in the California African Art Museum. Wow. I got a call today from a lady at the Watts Tower that wants me to put some dancing paintings in. So it's been a wonderful third life. It's been very exciting.
Okay. Well, congratulations to you, Donna. And you are always just a wonderful, wonderful, just individual artist and just spirit. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your gifts and what you're able to bring to the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to speak with you, Margot, because we are running out of time, as we always do. It's such a tragedy. I can't stand it.
It just goes.
Time flies.
It disappears. It disappears. But let's chat briefly about the rodeo, the Bill Pickett Rodeo.
29 years
Yes.
coming to town.
Yes, it's coming up next
and
Saturday.
Bill Pickett is the only national black touring rodeo in the country.
Okay.
And so for most people who don't know, Bill Pickett created an event called Bulldogging.
Yep.
And so they do it in all rodeos now. And so every major rodeo, they always give homage to him and talk about the event. Mm-hmm. And he was a little guy, but he created that, which was one. And when he used to bite the steer on the lip and get him down. That's how he did it. And then, so they wrestle him down, the steer, twist him over, and it's called bulldogging. So it's done in every event. And Lou Vasson, who started the rodeo, decided almost 30 years ago he wanted to do a rodeo because he didn't see many black cowboys. Mm-hmm. And people told him, "Oh, you'll never do it. It won't happen." Well, we're celebrating 29 years.
Congratulations.
And we're excited. It's this weekend, July 20th and 21st at Industry Hills Expo Center. Go to BillPickettRodeo.com. Mm-hmm. And we have 2 shows, Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 3:30. Wonderful. And it's a great family event. And people don't realize when they come, they'll be like, "Where have I been all these years.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so
Melina had a
fantastic.
chance. We did the first American Soul Rodeo with Glenn Turman, which is a charity rodeo we did in February. So we're building that rodeo, and that money goes to charity. But
That was a
Bill
wonderful
Pickett
event.
and Glenn has been the Grand Marshal for the rodeo for 27 years. This will be his 28th year. So he'll be there and bringing his whole camp. The kids, they go camp out and stuff over the weekend, and then he brings them all down from his ranch. It's an inner city program. And then they come out and rope and ride and have a good time.
Well, I look forward to participating. I'm going to be participating in the Put the Panties on the Calf
Panties on the
contest
calf.
again.
It's the media contest. So our people that are in the media industry compete against each other, or actors or whatever.
I'll believe that one alone.
Myself and Ade Lamar were on one team, and it was
Oh, you
against
need to
Kiki
come on out
Shepard.
and try it.
Come on out.
I'll be out of town,
It's
but
a lot of fun.
Okay, but
I'll
it is
be
a
where
lot
I
of
am
fun.
putting some panties
And
on
people
calves.
think rodeos, but black rodeos are totally different.
They're completely different. It's a wonderful time.
Completely
People don't realize either that the original jockeys were black in
Yeah.
horse racing. So
Yeah, they
we
were.
have a
They
history
are.
with horses. But
Well, let me ask you one quick question. We've spent most of our time talking about the more side, so just quickly, what would you like to explain to aspiring comedians about any etiquette, any particular type of comedic etiquette in about 30 seconds?
Just study your craft and work hard, sacrifice, and be the best that you can be. Because that's for another show.
A part two. So
That's
you have to
another
come
show.
on back. Come on back. Well, I would like to make mention that I would like to thank everyone for joining us here today onto the show. Again, Tamara from Sugar and Spiked. Tamara, you're in the studio. Can you kindly just share with us what are the treats that you're bringing that you shared with us today?
Today is a pudding fest.
Pudding.
So you have, it's a chocolate with Butterfinger and Kahlua, and it's called Better Than Sex. Then you also have a caramel apple.
Between that and
You also have a
Get that
caramel
old
apple,
veins jump off.
a caramel apple martini pudding, and then you have a butterscotch Heath bar pudding. So you guys get a pudding fest today.
between that, putting panties around calves,
I know, everything is
and infused liquor, I'm down. I'm good.
So now you definitely have to come
Big
back
show
with
and
more.
beautiful artwork. Yeah.
It's beautiful artwork. Well, thank you all so
Thank
much
you
for
so
being
much
here
for having
again.
us. It's fun.
Just one more time, you can reach Donna Andrews at DMANGERS at MSN.com. You can find information about the Bill Pickett Rodeo one more time.
BillPickettRodeo.com, 2 T's on Pickett.
Pickett and
And the ComedyUnion.com.
All right. The
And
Comedy
Twitter
Union.
at Guy Torry.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do people follow you on Facebook and Twitter and all
Guy
that good
Torry,
stuff?
GUYTORRY.
Okay, not E-Y.
Well, yeah, sorry with the T.
Got it. Okay.
2 T's.
Well, thank you guys for somebody. Oh, and Tamara with Sugar and Spiked. You're able to reach Tamara. Tamara, you want
On
to share that?
Facebook, Sugar and Spike, SUGARNSPYKED.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, and you can find this lovely jewelry at L&L's Boutique, 1205 North La Brea, or you can go to MelenaGaySignatureCollection.com. You've been seeing the lovely commercial all throughout the show. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I really, truly appreciate your support. You can follow me on Twitter at Melina Gay. You can also send us an email at mannerswithmelina@gmail. With that, take care, God bless, and we'll see you next week on Manners and More with Melina. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.